Hello, fellas and Filettis. It's Jaffe. We just finished a marathon, or at least for me, a marathon Bloodborne stream, which was awesome. I love that game. And I'm about to go to bed. It's 2 o'clock in the morning here in San Diego, and I got about three people saying, "Hey, Jaffe, there's this Adam Conover," which I've heard of. Adam Ruins Everything. I don't think I've ever watched it, but he put up a little video on TikTok. I don't mean little like condescending. I mean like it was short. It was like 4 minutes over on TikTok that you can see also now on Twitter. And people are like, Jaffe, what do you think of this? And what he says in the video, the gist of it is, if I'm getting it correct, let me paraphrase, but the Microsoft acquisitions coupled with Game Pass is really bad for the industry because unlike a lot of people who say that Microsoft is trying to build the Netflix of gaming, Adam is saying, no, they're trying to build the Amazon of gaming, and they're going to undercut all the other publishers, specifically Sony, knocking them out of the game because Sony cannot afford financially to do what Microsoft does, which is buy all these companies up, sell the games at a loss in order to build Game Pass into a mammoth value that will make people avoid the Sony games. Why would I spend $70 where I can get this game? You know, the stuff we always talk about. And he's worried about that, blah, blah, blah. And people say, well, Jaffe, what do you think about that? Two things. Number one, again, this is when this acquisition was announced a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people were having the conversation, which I think is correct, about it's no longer Microsoft versus Sony. It's Microsoft versus Tencent versus Apple versus Amazon, right? The playing field has shifted as we've gotten into, the game industry has gotten bigger. Mobile has gotten bigger. Mobile's bigger than gaming on PC and console combined. Whether there's a real metaverse or not, there's clearly a lot of people sort of jockeying to sort of make some noise in that space, assuming it's going to work. And so, yeah, Sony is no longer playing the same game in terms of scope. And maybe they need to, maybe they don't. But to Adam's point, though, I do not think it's a problem. And I'll tell you why I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's a problem because I genuinely understand the medium of interactivity in video games, okay? And I don't mean that condescendingly, but Sony, let's put it this way. The fact that Adam, okay, can look into a camera without any budget at all. I'm not saying he doesn't have nice production and stuff, but I'm saying that this is a little video he probably made on his phone. He's looking in the camera. He puts it out there. He's a pretty big name on the internet. This is probably monetizable. He'll probably make some money off of it, or indirectly or directly, right? The guy probably makes bank off his YouTube shit. But we still have Marvel movies, right? We still have really expensive TV shows like Amazon's Lord of the Rings. My point is that the video game medium is not in danger of going away or being hurt by Microsoft. If everything that Adam says comes to pass, and it might, I don't think so, but it might, it's logical. People who love video games for the medium are going to continue to be happier than pigs in shit. Games are better now than they've ever been. Here's what will agree with him. If what you love is scope and budget and production value and graphics, things that really have very little to do with the actual medium, those are candy wrappers on top of the essence of the medium, which is interactivity. Just like the essence of, storytelling is looking into a camera and speaking, or doing it on a giant canvas like the Marvel movies do. Well, if Sony wants to stay in the video game industry and carve out a niche for them, making games that, don't cost as much, because I think he's right about the fact that there is going to be an expectation of what a big budget AAA game is, and it's not necessarily accurate to say Sony can continue doing what they're doing, spending what they're spending if everybody is on Game Pass, and there's that expectation of games should basically be, quote, free, psychologically free, because they're on Game Pass, Spartacus, whatever. But certainly, if Sony wants to keep creating characters, great gameplay, great adventures, they can do that. And they can, maybe they won't have hardware, but they'll still be able to make games and create entertainment for many, many, many people and be very profitable doing that. But the idea that video games have to be defined the way it sounds like Adam's defining them, which is big budget, big teams, $100+ million budgets to create those things, multiple years. I mean, yeah, I mean, sure. If that's how you define games, Adam has a point, and I'd say it's a 50-50 chance of what he's saying is going to come to pass. But that's not how I define games. Games are, I was talking to Spazbo on our channel tonight. I haven't played it yet, but he says the Bloodborne demake is fucking awesome. Now, I'm not saying that should be what all games are like, but what I'm saying is if you game across the spectrum of indie and super indie and AA and AAA, and you do it because you love playing games and you're not, just chasing the next big graphic high, then you'll be fine. The people who love to make games aren't going anywhere. They'll keep making the games. And if you do love the production value more than anything else, those games will still be being made. They may be being made on Microsoft. But let's put it this way, okay? The idea that just because Microsoft might corner for a while the console market in terms of big productions, or even lesser than big because they don't have to if they don't have any competition, which they will, it doesn't mean it's a guaranteed to work. I mean, even Disney, that a lot of people say the only movies you can release today are Disney movies, whether they're Marvel, Star Wars, remakes of Cinderella, things like that, they don't always work. And Disney goes, oh, we have to change, right? So when they put out Rise of Skywalker and Solo and said, let's hold back, the audience is telling us something. When they put out the Eternals, I certainly don't think we'll be seeing an Eternals 2 anytime soon. When they put out the live-action version of Dumbo and nobody showed up for it, when the live-action version of Aladdin wasn't as big as they had hoped, ultimately, if what Adam is saying comes to pass and Microsoft is dropping the quality of the games, that's fine, but people will just go somewhere else or they'll stop playing games. So Microsoft still has to sort of sing for its supper with every big release on Game Pass, or people will go somewhere else. And it's like, well, there's nowhere else to go. There's plenty of places to go. I don't like Tencent as far as I can fucking throw them, but you could go to Tencent, you could go to Apple, you could go to Amazon, or you could play some other games that don't have the giant budgets if those kind of games are lesser because of what Adam is saying. So I don't worry about it personally because I'm going to keep playing games till the day I die. VR games, indie games, itch.io games, all up and down, big games. So it doesn't bother me at all. People wanted big production value. People wanted games to be mainstream. Well, here you go. This is what it looks like. Thank God there's a thriving AA and indie movement in games. I think it's going to be just fine. Unless you love the big budgets, then, buckle up because Adam has a 50% chance, I would say, of being right.